What's going on, everybody? Johnny Sports Talk here. I wanted to talk today about the current situation of the head coach in Philly. Now, as we all know, Chip Kelly's almost been fired now about 3 weeks, and the Philadelphia Eagles are yet to have a head coach. The Cleveland Browns, the Miami Dolphins, and New York Giants have finally found their guys, and the Eagles have yet to find their guys. And what's more disappointing about this, guys, is the candidates that they've been bringing in and the finalists right now. So right now, it's looking like it's going to be between Doug Peterson, uh, uh, Pat Shermer, and Tom Coughlin. Now, I don't know about you guys, but these aren't guys that I feel too comfortable going to next season having as our head man. Not saying that these aren't guys that can't get the job done, but frankly, these aren't guys that aren't going to excite us in Philly. Just went through a serious heartbreak in Chip Kelly. This guy was the hottest candidate coming out when we hired him as our head coach. He was the new thing in the NFL, and we all fell in love, and we all had him on this pedestal. And Chip Kelly's era fell down hard, so hard that this team is in shambles. And for Jeffrey Lurie and his search team to give us guys like Doug Peterson, like Pat Shermer, Ben McAdoo, it doesn't excite us. It just doesn't. It drives us crazy. It drives us to misery. Now, Ben McAdoo was hired as the New York Giants head coach, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, it's going to be interesting to see. Doug Peterson is still in the playoffs with the Kansas City Chiefs. And if his team gets booted this weekend by the New England Patriots, it'll be interesting to see if it's true that it's his job to lose right now. And frankly, my feelings with Doug Peterson is I feel like I've seen this before. You know, he was in Philly for a long time. He was our quarterbacks coach under Andy. He was our backup quarterback, if you remember, in Donovan McNabb days. I believe he was also here when Ray Rhodes was here. But Doug Peterson is pretty well known in the Eagles community. He obviously went on with Andy Reid when he left for Kansas City. He was brought on as the offensive coordinator. Now, he hasn't really called plays in Kansas City. And as far as I know, he doesn't really come up with the game plan for the Chiefs week in and week out. It's mostly obviously Andy Reid. Andy Reid is one of the good bright offensive minds in the NFL. Frankly, I'm not sure if Doug Peterson is capable of handling the day-to-day full control operations of an NFL franchise. Not only did he not call plays for the Chiefs' offense isn't that exciting. I mean, I really have to give credit where credit's due, and Andy is one of the best play callers in the NFL. I give you sometimes his time management at the end of games can be questionable, but Andy has done a great job with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know how much Doug Peterson has learned from that or what he's picked up from that. Clearly, Andy loves this guy for him to give him some high praise. Frankly, if the Eagles are thinking Doug Peterson, I would rather keep Pat Shermer and move him up to our head coach. Now, Pat Shermer obviously has learned under Andy Reid, has learned under Chip Kelly, was a former head coach. He's just been around the game for so long, and it brings some stability to the Philadelphia Eagles offense, and he will be able to hire whatever defensive coordinator he wants. Now, Pat, all that sounds great, but I am not sure how much Pat has learned from his first head coaching stint with the Cleveland Browns and under Chip Kelly. Now, if Pat can mix the West Coast offense with a little hurry up, I think this would be great for our current offense right now. We have good talent on this team that needs to still be developed. Obviously, our offensive line is a huge question mark, as well as the quarterback. Now, the offensive line has to get addressed in the draft, maybe free agency. I don't know what free agents are out there at the line, but it has to get addressed sometime this offseason. And Sam Bradford, I feel if we make Pat Shermer head coach, that would be great for for Sam to come back. And then there's Tom Coughlin. Obviously, we all know Tom Coughlin's resume. 2 Super Bowls. I mean, he was in New York for over a decade. But frankly, I am not sure how much Tom Coughlin has left in him. He has the energy, and clearly he still wants to coach, but I don't know if he still has it. Now, if he comes here, he's gonna have more talent, more overall talent, I believe, than he had in New York. But there was just too many things past season in New York that raises red flags. There was just miscommunication all throughout the season, from what I hear, with the Giants, as well as the whole situation with Odell Beckham Jr. and that Carolina Panthers game really raises red flags for me. If that was my star player out there acting like a fool, he's out. And Tom Coughlin did not take that initiative, and that worries me to an extent. Now, if it were up to me, if Jeffrey Lurie was asking me to find the head coach, my top choices is Matt Patricia and Sean McDermott. Those are 2 guys, either or, I want on my team right now as my head man. Now, one thing those 2 have in common is these are defensive-minded coaches. One thing Jeffrey Lurie has not looked into in this coaching search. All candidates he has interviewed are offensive-minded men. From Deuce Staley to Pat Shurmur to Ben McAdoo, Tom Coughlin, Doug Peterson, all offensive-minded guys, which he's been going through that path the past 2 hirings. I don't understand why he feels the need to continue with this offensive pattern. Like, defense, at the end of the day, defense, I still believe, wins championships. A good quarterback helps, but at the end of the day, defense wins championships. And we don't have a franchise quarterback. Sam Bradford can lead us to the playoffs, but he will not be that elite franchise quarterback that we haven't had since Donovan McNabb. Now, I'm not saying the offensive defensive-minded coach matters, but maybe with a defensive-minded coach, he could bring a new attitude and mentality to this Eagles team, like toughness and being more physical, something that we haven't really seen since the early Brian Dawkins, Jeremiah Trotter days. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who these Eagles hire as the head coach. We still need to improve upon something we have been lacking for the past couple of years, and that is drafting. We haven't drafted well enough for us to even consider winning. In order to win in this league, you have to draft well. The winning teams right now are drafting well, and they're getting guys with good value at positions that you wouldn't expect to get someone to succeed. It was very worrisome to me that we don't have a general manager, someone in that front office, a good football mind to build our franchise. We shall see what happens. It's going to be a crazy couple of weeks. It could be very exciting or very disappointing. Either way, I'm going to have high hopes. Hopefully we get the right guy and see some winning football back in Philly. From Johnny Sports Talk, go Birds!